All right, guys, good afternoon and happy Sabbath. Welcome to another episode of AY Travelogue. Last week, I talked about my experience when I was in Mexico, about how God has led me. All right, guys, good afternoon and happy Sabbath. And guided me in my travel. And now we're going to continue on with that story because after Mexico, I went to Peru. And in this country, I've experienced another episode or incident of how God had protected me and had led me in my journey. From Mexico, I was in Piste and I traveled to Cancun on my way to Peru. I arrived in Cancun airport at around 3 p.m. and my flight will be at around 7 p.m. So I had a lot of time to spare in Cancun airport. I just relaxed there, had some dinner. I was just waiting for my flight. I remember that was an Interjet plane that will take me from Cancun, Mexico to Lima, the capital city of Peru. The flight is at 7 p.m. and it is scheduled to arrive at Lima at 11 p.m. local time of Lima. So, like what I've said before, in my flights, I really didn't consider the arrival time when I was booking my flights because I was just thinking of the price of the airfare. And if I have to do this all over again, I would probably even consider the arrival time because of safety issues, because of what happened to me in Cancun, where I had a scare arriving at the airport at around 3 a.m. Upon arrival, when I saw my ticket and I found out that I'm going to arrive in Lima, Peru at almost midnight, I was a bit, let's say, I was a bit nervous again. And during that time, I was able to book a hotel already in Lima, but I haven't paid for that hotel yet. So knowing that I'm going to arrive at Lima at around 11 p.m. and probably be out of the airport at midnight, I rebooked my hotel and I chose a hostel that is near the airport. So using my phone, I did that through booking.com. I haven't paid it yet, but just book it. And I made sure that the hotel is near the airport because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to arrive at midnight. So at least the transfer would not be long and it will be more safe for me. And while I was at the airport in Cancun, Mexico, I was communicating with the owner of the hostel or the one in charge through email. We were exchanging emails. And one of my concerns that I told the owner is I'm going to arrive there and can you please pick me up? And he said, at first he said, it's okay. You can walk. You can walk from the airport, Lima airport, to our hostel because it's not very far. And she even sent me a map. So that was a plan. I'm going to walk. And according to the owner, it's not dangerous. That it's okay to walk. But I was thinking I'm going to arrive at midnight. So I was a bit hesitant to do that. But since the owner told me that that's possible, so that was a plan. Arrive at Lima airport at around midnight and just walk to the hostel. So we were exchanging emails through to the booking.com app using the airport's Wi-Fi. I didn't have with me a SIM card data connection, but I was just in my travels, I'm just always using Wi-Fi's at airports, hotels. I don't have a SIM card. So I was waiting for my flight. I was in Cancun airport. It was a pretty good, decent airport. Good food. It was not so crowded. And like what I've said, the plane that I took was Interjet. I think it's a budget airlines. So at 7, we started flying. I remember the flight. The flight was okay, not much turbulence. And there was a snack provided by the airlines. I think the flight was about 4 hours. from Mexico, Cancun to Lima, Peru. And then after 4 or 5 hours, I arrived at Lima, Peru. And I was so excited because that was my first time in South America. I always dreamed of visiting South America ever since. I've seen those movies, travel movies, even movies that depict South America. So it's been a dream. And during the time, I was very excited that finally I'm about to land in South America, which is my first time. Arriving at the airport, I was very confident, although it's almost 12 midnight. And of course, you have to go through immigration, and the process was smooth. Usually, I've noticed the countries that we don't need a visa for Filipino citizens, the entrance, the entry to those countries are smooth. Not a lot of questions. Unlike my previous entry to Mexico City, where we need a visa, then I got lots of questions. But here, Peru, for Filipino citizens, we don't need a visa, so the entry was very smooth. So it was good. Of course, it's a different country, and I don't have the local currency, but I have my ATM machine, my ATM card, not machine card, debit card. So the plan was to just withdraw money to wherever country I go visit. So that's my travel style. I don't usually bring a lot of cash, and some cash that I've exchanged, some cash that I brought. I have some US dollars and Chinese yuan, but I ran out of them. I ran out of those when I was in Mexico, so I didn't have cash with me, and I'm a different country. So the plan was to withdraw cash in Lima, Peru, which is the currency is, I think it's sole. They call it sole. So that was the first thing that I did upon arrival at the airport. After the immigration officer entry, I went straight to the ATM machine inside the airport and then started to withdraw. So at first, you have to check for the ATM machine if it has Union Pay sign, because my card is by Union Pay. So when they started to have the transaction, it won't work again. It didn't work. And I was like, I wish I withdrew a lot of Mexican peso. At least I will have some cash with me to exchange for Peruvian sole. But that's what was on my mind when I was withdrawing that time. So it didn't work. The first machine didn't work. So I didn't know what to do. I sat down for a while and I prayed, Lord, I'm in South America. I don't have cash with me, and the ATM machine, despite having a Union Pay sign, didn't work. So please help me. And I was trying to contact the hostel owner because obviously I don't know how to get there, even though there's a map. But I'm not very confident. So I was planning to take a cab at least, or follow the map. But before going out of the airport, I want to make sure that I have cash with me. So I just sat down, composed myself a bit, and prayed. And then after, while sitting, I was trying to contact the owner using the Wi-Fi of the airport. But apparently during the time, the owner wasn't replying. The owner of the hostel that I've booked. So I was just sitting. Usually that's what I do. If there are cases like this along the road, I just sit, pray, and just relax, kind of compose myself. And then I ask the employees of the airport if they have more ATM machines at the airport. So apparently they have upstairs, second floor. I went there, 3 machines. Wow, lots of choices. And all of them didn't work. I have 3 cards with me, 3 debit cards, 3 ATM cards, and they're all Union Pay, apparently. All of them didn't work. So again, I went downstairs, sat down, and didn't know what to do. And then I prayed again. And then I decided to try one more time the ATM machine that is located downstairs, the first one that I've tried. So I went there again, had a transaction, and guess what? I was able to withdraw. It worked. I don't know what happened for some reason. It worked. So I was able to get some cash. Peruvian Sole, I was so happy. Finally, I can go get a cab, go out of the airport, go to my hostel. I was so tired. Remember this same day where I landed in Peru, this was the same day when I was at Chichen Itza in the morning. Chichen Itza in the morning, Mexico, and then in the evening I was in Lima, Peru. So it was a very tiring day. So I can't wait to be in my hostel, just be on the bed and sleep. So I was able to get some cash. So I went out of the airport. I have some cash with me. This time it was already, I think, 2 a.m. Yeah, it's about 2 hours have passed, so it's already almost 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Probably even 2:30. When I went out of the airport, there were lots of taxi drivers who, of course, wanted to take me to my hostel, and a lot of them they offered their prices, and all of them offered an expensive, or not expensive, overpriced rate for a taxi. Because when I was communicating with the hostel owner, the owner even told me this is just the amount of money that you have to pay for a taxi going to this distance to our hostel. So I know the price. If I'm not mistaken, that was like 20 sole. But apparently the taxi drivers were asking me for about 50, 60. And I was just kind of pissed off that they're trying to rip me off. So I said, no, I'm not going to take a taxi. I'm just going to walk. That's what I told them. Because apparently the hostel owner told me that I can walk and it's safe. But then the, the taxi drivers insisted that I take a cab, and they said, you will not walk at this time of the day here in Lima, Peru, because it's not safe. That's what they told me. They speak little English. Most It's a Spanish speaking country, so they speak. Uh, they can speak English, but not much. So they tried to communicate to me saying, "Don't walk. You don't walk in Lima, Peru at this time of the day, 2 a.m. because of safety." They say, and I can see from their eyes and from the tone of their voice that they're very serious about it. They're really concerned. You can tell. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a cab, but I'm just gonna pay 20 sole. I told them that, and we agreed. So one day, okay, 20 sole. I'll take you to your hostel. Do you have the address? So I went to the cab. I went to the cab, and the driver can't speak English. So when I was in the cab, the driver was talking to me in Spanish, and I cannot understand. Good thing we have smartphones, and he translated it, and he said, according to translation, can have your address again, the address of your hostel. And I gave him the address through booking.com. I screenshot the booking.com address and showed it to him, and he typed the address on his map, like Google Map or the app navigator. What he told me next was, after typing, he said he again used his phone for translation, saying, your hostel's neighborhood is not a safe neighborhood. That's what he told me. I know a better hotel, and I'm willing to take you there, because this hostel that you've booked, it's in a neighborhood in Lima that is not safe. So he said, I'm willing to take, I know a different hotel which is better than this hotel. And of course, I didn't agree. In my mind, he is just scamming me or trying to take money from me, or maybe he has a connection with this other hotel. And I've already booked this hotel, and I'm confident. I talked to the owner, I spoke to the owner. So I said, no, don't, just take me. to this address that I've booked. And he said, okay, fine. Although he was telling me it's not safe, but since you insisted, I'm going to take you there, said the driver. So he took me there. Remember, this is already at 2 a.m. Most people are already asleep. The city was quiet, and we went through dark alleys, dilapidated buildings. It was very dark, no street lights. And in my mind, I'm always thinking, I'm in South America. I'm in South America. And I remember the movies that I watched about South America, about the danger of these cities, drug addiction, murders, and all that stuff. It just came into my mind, and I was a bit nervous. So imagine yourself being in a cab just by yourself in a city in South America, Lima, Peru, at the time of the day, 2 a.m. And the taxi driver is a bit dodgy, even offering me to take me to another hotel. So I was a bit scared, but I prayed to God for guidance, for protection, to send his holy angels to protect me. So while we were driving, he told me again, look at the surroundings. See, it's not safe. He was telling me, and I look at the surroundings. Yeah, it looks like these are dark alley, narrow streets, dilapidated buildings, broken window panes, and I started to get nervous again. And then finally, he pulled over. He stopped in front of. I was expecting that he will stop in front of like a nice hostel, or at least a hostel with a sign. But he stopped at somewhere where there's nothing in there. It's basically an apartment. It's so dark. All the lights are turned off. And he said, "Is this really the correct address that you gave me? Because according to your address, this is the place of your hostel." And when I even look at his map on on his phone displayed on the dashboard, and it's the correct address. So he's not fooling me. He really went to the correct address of my hostel, but apparently it was so dark. The lights were off inside the building, and there's nothing there. It's like apartments. And when I check again on booking.com the time, it seems like that hostel is just an apartment, like probably a family run hostel slash apartment. Maybe that's why it was like that. So, and he said, look, the address is here. Are you sure it's the correct address? I told the driver, I said, yeah, this is the correct address. And he even pointed at the street name, which is apparently the correct address. And he said, this is your correct address. So yeah, you're free to get off the car, and this is your hotel. But if you're in that situation, are you gonna get off the car? 2 a.m. No one is inside. The the apartment is very dark. You can There's no light turned on inside. And he said, I have I remember I have a number of that hostel, the number of the owner, because I was communicating with the owner before through email, and the number was there displayed right on booking.com. He said, may you please call this number, because I think the owner was expecting me. And the driver dialed the number that I gave him, and it can't be reached. It's not working. And I said, no, I'm not getting off this taxi at this time of the night, and in this environment. I'm not getting off. So I told him, okay, you told me you know a different hotel that is safer. Just take me there. I finally gave in to his suggestion. So he took me there to the hotel that he suggested. I even thought about going to Holiday Inn, because I saw on our way out of the airport, I saw a Holiday Inn hotel, which is a 5-star hotel. I know it's going to be expensive, but because of safety issues, and I was quite scared, I told the driver, just take me to Holiday Inn. And he said, no, that's so expensive. And I even checked on the internet, the price, it's really very expensive. So he said, okay, I'm just going to take you to the hotel that I know. Don't worry about it, because it's safe. It's a nice hotel, he told me. And I go, okay, take me there. And while we were on our way, finally the environment became better. I can see parks, some plants. The road is a bit it's a bit more wide now, and there's more activity even at this time of the night. So I was a bit, I felt okay. And the driver was talking to me in Spanish. He can't speak English, and I just understood tranquilo. He was saying, "Si, si, tranquilo, tranquilo." Basically, it probably it means tranquil, right? Tranquilo, tranquilo is good. He was saying, "See, what is just is better." So we went to this hotel. It's actually by a park, by like a public park. And when we went to the hotel, it was fully booked. The hotel that he suggested was fully booked, fully booked. There was no vacancy. So I said, don't worry. I know another hotel. The driver told. The driver, by the way, was so kind. My first impression was not correct. I thought he was trying to scam me, but apparently he was just trying to help me. So there's one lesson there. Like sometimes you judge people because they're from this part of the world. Maybe this, oh, they're from South America. Maybe they're trying to get my money. But apparently that driver was so concerned about my well-being, my safety. And he said, okay, I know another hotel. Don't worry about it. So we went into another hotel, and there was a vacancy. But this hotel is not so good hotel, not so nice. But at least I have somewhere somewhere that I can spend the night. So I checked in. The hotel was kind of expensive for the quality. I didn't care. It's already almost 3 a.m. The hotel was not nice, but at least I felt safe. So the driver dropped me there. I paid cash, and I went to my room. Let me show you my room. This was this was the hotel that the driver took me in Lima. Is a very small hotel, and it's not so good. I think it's probably budget hotel, but the price was a bit expensive. I don't know why. Maybe it's part of the scam. But I was just glad that I was able to make it to my hotel from the airport. So I think I arrived at 3 a.m. So had a shower and slept. By the way, the driver even volunteered because the next day, this here's the thing. The next day I was also my flight going to Cusco, Peru. So which means I just have 1 day in Lima. So the driver even told me that since you have a flight the next day, I can even take you from your hotel to the airport. So he was really kind. So I slept in my hotel. The next day I woke up. I always have this feeling if when I wake up in a new city, I always have this excited feeling, and I always feel happy, so excited what this city has to offer. So I woke up at around 7, probably 7 a.m., and I was so excited, took a shower and went out of the hotel to kind of explore the city a bit and have breakfast. That was the plan. So upon going out of the hotel, a guy stopped me and tried to talk to me. I was about on my way to my hotel, going out of the hotel the next day, and he said, "Where are you going? You're a foreigner, right?" "Yeah, I'm a foreigner. I'm a tourist." And said, "Where are you going?" So I'm just gonna go out and go to the streets and just have breakfast, because during the time I was thinking I want to experience authentic Peruvian food, which usually you can experience it on the streets. I want those really local restaurants or even street food. So I opted to just walk and explore and find what and eat whatever I can find. And said, no, 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 no. I'll take you to the restaurant. I'll take you to somewhere that you can have breakfast. I said, no, it's I'm just gonna walk. It's just over there. And he said, no, though I'm a staff in this hotel, and don't worry, I'm gonna take you there for free. He said, I have my car with me. I'm gonna take you there for free. I know a good breakfast place. And I said, where is it? He said, it's over there. Yeah, it's just very near. I will just go to the corner and just turn right. I told him, yeah, but it's not safe. last night we had a problem here. That's what he told me. He said, last night I had a big problem. That's what he told me in speaking in Spanish accent. So what happened? He said, last night, two American tourists was shot on the street over there. When he said that, I was like, I had goosebumps because I was just thinking last night I was still exploring. I was still in the taxi going to these alleys at 2 a.m. And this guy just told me that last night two American tourists were shot on the street over there. He pointed to that direction. In this journey, I was always, although I'm a huge fan of savoring the moment and the journey itself, not the destination, but during this around the world journey of mine, I was constantly obsessed with circumnavigating the globe. That I was always thinking of going back to Manila. I was always thinking of that moment where when I'm landing in Manila, finally being able to circumnavigate the globe. So I was always very careful that nothing will happen to me on the road because I want to be successful in this quest in circumnavigating the globe. And this very careful mentality of mine to make it alive at least or without an accident all the way back to Manila, I was obsessed with this idea that when I heard this story that I think I'm not saying that there could have something that happened to me that night, but the fact that two tourists were shot on that street near my hotel last night just brought goosebumps and chills into my spine. And immediately I whispered a prayer of thanks because I may not see it, but for sure the Lord, the angel of God was guiding me in my journeys. I was able to make it safe to my hotel, and I was able to explore Lima that day. The driver took me, the hotel staff took me to the breakfast place, and I was able to enjoy it. And because I believe that was because God sent his angels to protect me despite it was just me traveling solo in a city in South America. According to Psalms 91, verse 11, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all their ways. This was my breakfast that day, that morning. It's an authentic Peruvian sandwich. Peru is Lima especially is famous for their sandwiches. Is really good. So this is where that guy took me for the breakfast place using his car. I didn't walk. And this was taken in front of my hotel. This was the alley. If you can know, if you notice, there's like this South America vibe. These colors. This was the street that the hotel staff told me where two Americans were shot. Some were down there. So I didn't take a lot of pictures, but I just took a photo of my sandwich. It was really good. The feeling is this is potato, sweet potato. It's quite weird, right? Sandwich with a filling of sweet potato. So that same day, after exploring Lima a bit, I went to the airport and finally landed in one of my dream destinations, my ultimate dream destinations, which is Cusco, Peru. The elevation of Cusco is 3,000 plus meters above sea level. It's really high. Imagine the summit of Mount Apo. the tallest mountain in the Philippines. That is the elevation. It's more than that, even the elevation of Lima, Peru. So I really thank God that I was able to make it safe to this city. This is in Lima, no, in Cusco, Peru, and was taken at my hotel upon arrival in Cusco. And first thing I did was I was concerned about elevation, altitude sickness. So I had this coca coca tea. They're given for free in hotels in Cusco. I was able to make it safe, and I was so happy. And this is one of this is one of my breakfasts when I was in Cusco. I saw this from my favorite travel vlogger, Mark Queens, when he went to Cusco. He ate this thing, sandwich with avocado as filling, and this drink made of apple and some healthy goodness. I forgot the term. So this is my breakfast. I just enjoyed Cusco. It's one of the best, most beautiful cities I've been to. This is my hotel in Cusco. And during that Sunday when I was there, they had this like festival or something. There was a parade similar to our Black Nazarene. This is the city center in Cusco. And this is a very special place to me in Cusco because this was a scene in one of my favorite travel movies. If you've seen the movie The Art of Travel, there was a scene here where they were saying goodbye to each other. Anyway, this is the spot in the city center. So I really enjoyed my time in Cusco. And I was just glad that I was able to make it safe despite of some kind of like nervousness that happened along the way, arriving in the city late at night, not being able to withdraw cash. But I was able to make it to one of my ultimate dream destinations in the world, which is Cusco, Peru. And of course, the purpose of me going to Peru is to visit Machu Picchu. So here's a picture of a train ride. The train ride to Machu Picchu. I was just watching this train or this journey in travel vlogs or even documentaries or even travel movies. Before, this is one of the most charming train rides I've had. This is from Ollantaytambo, a town in Peru, going to Machu Picchu. So I was on my way to Machu Picchu. And by the way, this is Machu Picchu is one of the ultimate dream destinations. It's one of the seven wonders of the world. And one of my goals in my travels is to visit all the seven wonders of the world. The story behind Machu Picchu is, in my case, when we were kids, our parents bought us a book. It's called Strange Worlds, Amazing Places. It's from Reader's Digest, and it contains these amazing infrastructures, natural wonders in the world. And one of those featured there was Machu Picchu. So, when we were young, we were always browsing books, and I saw this picture in that book about Machu Picchu and the story on how it was discovered by Hiram Bingham. And during that time, I was amazed by the infrastructure and this picture. I was amazed by this infrastructure is in the mountains, and if you look at the ruins, it's really amazing. But during the time, I didn't even expect that I'll be able to visit it one day. Like I didn't even plan. I didn't even dream of going there because for me, it's like it's unreachable. Think about it. It's in Peru, South America, and during the time, travel was not very common yet. People before people just travel when they have an important business or something. Tourism was not very that common yet compared now, so I didn't even expect to see this in person. I just saw it in our book, and I was just amazed. Yeah, I was in elementary at the time, so you can imagine the excitement I had well before boarding this train on my way to see Machu Picchu. And when I arrive at Machu Picchu, because I arrived there, we arrive in the evening and the tour will be the next day. So I was always praying that, Lord, please, it's rainy season. But by the way, it was rainy season in Peru when I was there. But I chose it because I don't want to go there when it's peak season. It's very crowded. So I chose off peak season for tourists. So while I was at my hostel in Machu Picchu town, what's the name of this town? Aguascalientes, the name of the town of Machu Picchu. I was praying, Lord, please give me a good weather tomorrow, because it's my only chance. It's the only day that I'm going to visit Machu Picchu. And if it rains, if it is very cloudy that I can see Machu Picchu, can you imagine the disaster? So I said, please, Lord, give me a good weather, sunny, no clouds, so I can have a clear view of Machu Picchu. So it was nice. The evening it didn't rain, so I slept early because I was so excited. The next day when I woke up at around, because my tour starts at 7 a.m. Actually 6, but Machu Picchu opens at 7. So but 6 we have to gather. So I woke up at around even 4:30. I think that was 4:30. I was so excited. I woke up 4:30 a.m. and I had breakfast in my hotel. It was raining really hard. And I was like, oh man. And I checked the app. It says it's gonna be a rainy day. Anyway, so I prayed again, Lord, please give me a sunny weather. It's raining, I know, but you can control the weather. So please, it's my only chance to see Machu Picchu. Please let the rain stop. Until 7 o'clock, when we went to the bus station that will take us to Machu Picchu, it was still raining, and there were lots of tourists that in order to board a bus, you have to queue, you have to line up outside of the station. Imagine we were lining up outside, raining, but we were having this poncho to protect us from the rain, but it was raining, and you can imagine the disappointment. But we were still very positive. We were saying, okay, probably it will stop. And our guide, I remember our guide, her name is Eugenia. Her name is Eugenia. She told us, don't worry about the rain because I prayed already. I believe in God. So that when she told me that, I was like, I kind of felt ashamed of my faith because I prayed, but at the same time I have doubts. I was so down. It was raining. It was a gloomy day, and I was like, oh, it's just so bad luck. And here's my guide. He said, I believe in God. I'm a Catholic, and don't worry about the rain because I prayed already, and I know God will answer my prayer. So I really admire the faith of this woman, our guide, Eugenia, when she told me that. So we went to Machu Picchu. We went there via a bus, like 10-minute ride. And then when we got there, we hiked for a bit. It was still raining. We were hiking. It was still raining. It was still raining. And I was like, oh, there's no chance that this rain will stop. I told myself I was a bit disappointed. But lo and behold, when we got to the viewpoint of Machu Picchu, because it's a huge infrastructure, huge archaeological site. But there are some viewpoints, those famous pictures and posters, they were taken from viewpoints, right? So when we arrive at the viewpoint, the rain stopped. The rain stopped, but it was still cloudy. So the view of Machu Picchu was still covered with clouds, but at least the rain stopped. But suddenly, the clouds the clouds are moving, and it slowly unveiled Machu Picchu, which made it more mysterious, amazing. There was a feel of mysticism, and it even made the moment better, in my opinion, compared to if we just had a sunny day. and just seeing Machu Picchu, boom, that's it. But here was because of the weather. Let me show it to you. Because of the weather, so the clouds was covering the infrastructure, and then it slowly unveiled itself, and we were there standing, beholding that beauty. And because there are still some clouds scattered in the mountains, it brought this mysticism, and the place became more magical. So I told myself, wow, and the rain stopped. So I thank God for these experiences that has happened. And while we were touring Machu Picchu, eventually towards the middle of the day, it became more sunny. And here's the more sunny portion of the day while I was at Machu Picchu. And I can't help but just thank the Lord that He was able to make these things happen for me. And when I was reflecting upon this experience, first of all, is I was so grateful. I'm so thankful to the Lord that He has given me this opportunity to see this wonder that I was just seeing in a book before. So this was all possible because of His blessings, because of the opportunities that He has given me. And I was so thankful about that one. And when I was reflecting my experiences here in Machu Picchu, I said, if I was there when it was very sunny, I won't have that magical experience. So what I thought was going to be a bad day because of the weather, the rain, the clouds, it actually added to a more magical, more beautiful Machu Picchu. I was still able to see it, but it even added to this mysticism. So God works in mysterious ways that sometimes you don't understand. We just need to trust Him. In 1 John 5, verse 14, and this is the confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He heareth us. After experiencing Machu Picchu, I was on my way again because the next day is my flight going to Brazil. Constantly moving from country to country. And while waiting for my train going back to Cusco, I was just sitting here in this coffee shop with a nice view of the mountains and a river. And the vibe is so nice. It's very similar to the vibe that can be found in Banaue, Angkor Wat, Pai in Thailand. You know, lots of backpackers, hikers, mountaineers, lots of tourists, lots of local culture. I was just sitting because I was killing time waiting for my train ride to Cusco. I was having a sip of delicious Peruvian coffee. And let me share to you this video of a train, one of the views that I had when I was just waiting for my train going back to Cusco. It was a very wonderful experience, a very memorable experience. And while I was on my way to Brazil, I was on a plane and I whispered a prayer of thanks to God for making it possible. And I've learned a lot of lessons to always trust Him, to always ask for His angels to protect you in your journeys. Thank you so much for listening and have a blessed Sabbath day.